enchanted moment, and it sees me through. It's enough for this restless warrior just to be with you.
Hey, it's Nate, and today I am doing Can You Feel the Love Tonight by Elton John. As usual with Elton John songs, there are a ton of cool arpeggios that you can duplicate exactly or play it loose in the moment like he does. Now, this certainly isn't going to end up on my playlist of easier piano tutorials, but as far as Elton songs go, it is on the easier side. And as always, you can keep it simple and just focus on the chords without the extra details. For each section, I will go through teaching just the basic chords, then I will do a second pass through for the fancy stuff. Let's jump in. Okay, so first off, I recommend you get the chords and lyrics chart. There's a link in the description that'll help you follow along and see where the chords and lyrics line up with each other. I'm going to skip the intro for now because it's the most complicated part and it'll be easier to tackle once we've spent some time with the chords and the rhythms in the verse and chorus. So here are the chords to the first verse. First line, we're just going back and forth between this E flat and this B flat over D. So for the E flat, it's an inversion. I got a G, a B flat, and an E flat. This is middle C here for reference. And then in the left hand, I'm doing just E flat bass notes. I'm gonna do octaves. You don't actually play them at the same time, which makes it a little easier. We're gonna do a pattern like that, but you could also use single bass notes. Okay, and then the B flat over D. So coming down to the D bass notes over here, and we've got F, B flat, and D up here. Now notice you can pivot off the second finger on that B flat. I'm using my second finger here because for the arpeggio we're going to want to reach up to that F eventually. But we're in 4/4 time, so each of these measures gets 4 counts, a fast tempo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So E flat, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and so on. But let's just add a little bit more rhythm here. So in the right hand, I'm going to do half notes. So every 2 counts, playing on 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in the left hand, I'm also going to do half notes, but I'm going to split the octaves apart and do bottom, top, bottom, top. Okay, so now on the second line, starts the same way, but then for this B flat over D, he does a little add to. You can just add the C in there. I'd say that's optional, but it's a nice little color. And then we've got this C minor 7. Nice thing about this is it's the exact same as the E flat we were doing, except the bass note is gonna be C. And then we've got F. Okay, so I just want to talk about this for a second because throughout this song, it's going to come up as we get deeper into the song and into the more advanced stuff. He does a lot of his chord voicings with 4 notes where you've got octaves on either side. He does it often for the B flat that we did or the E flat that we did where you do that high octave. And I'm going to be working it in with the arpeggios. I'm going to sometimes do it. If your hand can't stretch it, don't worry. You can just do either the top 3 or the bottom 3 notes. But for this F, you can totally just do A, C, and F, and that sounds great. Let's play through what we got so far. There's a calm surrender to the rush of day when the heat of a rolling wind can be turned away. Notice that I only did the B flat add 2 on the first hit and then I let go of that C. I think I hear him do that. And just notice that we're playing pretty gently here in this first verse. Okay, so the second half of this verse is very similar. We've got another line just back and forth. Okay, and then we've got it's enough for this restless warrior. So that's going to be this G minor, going to come down here with the G bass notes, and then we got B flat, D, and G. Restless warrior, just to be with you. So this A flat, I love the way this chord feels. Come up to the A flat bass notes, then we can do C, E flat, and A flat there. just to be with you. And you can do F just like we did it before. All right, so now I'm going to do a second pass through and add in the arpeggios. But I just want to note that what we've done so far already sounds really good. So don't rush yourself adding all these arpeggios. You can take your time. But we're going to need to think in eighth notes to add the arpeggios throughout the song. So we're dividing the beat in half, thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And most of the arpeggios in this song happen either on 3 and 4 or 3 and 4 and. So if we just take E flat, for example, that would be 1, 2, 3 and 4, or 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. But more commonly it's just 1, 2, 3 and 4, and it just so happens that on the very first E flat in the first verse he does do that. There's a calm surrender. So just going up the 3 notes of the chord, upward motion on 3 and 4, and then we've got the B flat, 3 and 4. Love this one. So this one's interesting. We've been voicing the B flat like this, but to do the arpeggio melody, we do have to reach up to that high F. But with the arpeggio, it's easier than actually stretching. You can make sure you're pivoting off the wrist. So we're skipping the D for most of these. And then keep going. It's only that first E flat that he does that arpeggio. Most of the time he's just doing the half notes, but always on this one. Except for it doesn't do it when you got the add 2 and the C minor 7. No arpeggio there, but for this F. So here's where using all 4 notes on the voicing is helpful, because he does 3 and 4 and just root 3rd, 5th octave, but you can totally do just the 3 notes and then use all 4 for the arpeggio. Okay, next line, same thing again. I'm not gonna do it on the E flat, but of course I am gonna do. And then sometimes, I believe here, he does all 4 notes. So maybe 1, 2, 3, 5. Nothing here. Love that one. So that's leading into the chorus. So you can voice the F down here, but then jump up to this shape. Now this is a spoiler, this is gonna be a big chord in the chorus where it's a C, F, and C. So that's gonna be 5th root and then 5th an octave higher. Let me do one full playthrough of the verse with all those arpeggios. And one thing I wanna point out is throughout the song, most of the arpeggios start on beat 3, like I mentioned, and he really accents that beat 3. It's part of the sound of these arpeggio stuff. And maybe I'm exaggerating, but you'll hear it. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's one thing I forgot to mention. This is totally optional, but on the G minor, you hear something like this, where it does the inversion where you hear the G on top on the first hit, and then it sounds more like just a root position triad. He probably was doing the full voicing with the octaves like that, and then just didn't hit the top note on the second hit, but nice little variation that I'll probably throw in. All right, so let's do that chorus. Here are the chords to the first half of that. And once again, I will start with just the chords and then we'll come back for the details. So right off the bat, we've got this B flat, and I'm gonna voice it an octave higher. And note, for this chorus, we're actually just gonna be using single bass notes. So you may, if you can, add the D down here, but if not, you can just voice it like this. It's exactly what we were doing before, but an octave higher. And that's gonna be for the first measure. Love the way that sounds, this F over A. So like I said before, this is the same notes as the arpeggio we did at the very end of the verse. So C, F, and C. we've got a G minor, and then E flat. Can you feel the love tonight? Notice I did second finger here on this B flat and then cross down to thumb. I just think it fits the hand a little better. Maybe go into third finger for the E flat here. Okay. Now, some familiar chords here. B flat, just like we were doing in the verses, so the lower one. Use my first finger here. And then I love this moment. So, E flat, just like we were doing it, and then we've got this C over E. I'm going to use my second finger there in the left hand, and we can keep our first finger on this G, and it's going to be G, C, and E, and then coming up to an F. And we can do the F like that. You could also do that if your hand can make it. And note that this line is the first time we have seen anything other than just a chord lasting a measure. So we've got that measure of B flat, and then it's just 2 counts on the E flat, 2 counts on the C over E, or really, because we're doing half notes, it's 1 hit each. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we've got 2 full measures of F. All right, this next line, of course, is it's enough for this wide-eyed wanderer. So we've got E flat, just like we've been doing it, B flat over D, just like we've been doing it. Now we've got this. So we've got G minor. We're gonna do it just root position this time. G, B flat, and D, and that's just 1 hit because then we have G minor over F. Only difference is we're stepping down to the F bass note. Then we've got E flat for another measure. Okay, then there we got this far. Love that moment. So C minor is the only new thing here. So instead of the C minor 7, we're gonna do G, C, and E flat. Just using my 5th finger on a C here. And then the left hand bass line here, just playing every note from C to F except for the D flat, and just using every finger there. And so we've got C minor, B over D, E flat, C over E. So just like we were doing it before, and then landing on F for 2 measures yet again. Okay, so let's look at the second half of the chorus. It looks like that. Same thing, the only difference is the last line, but let me just play through everything just to review what we have done so far. Can you feel the love tonight? How it's laid to rest. It's enough to make kings and vagabonds. Okay, so here's the part that's new, and it starts the same way as the other one did with the C minor, B flat over D, E flat, but this time, instead of going to the C over E, we're gonna do E over F, then E over B flat. So just keeping that same E flat shape, coming down to this B flat bass note, and then resolving that down to the B flat. So a lot of E flat in the right hand, just changing the bass note. And the first 4 chord voicings here just hit once each because it's 2 per measure for those. Believe the very best. So this is a full measure, and then a full measure of B flat, but you're just gonna hit it and hold, because then we're going to go to the interlude. All right, so you can keep that arrangement as is, or you can follow me through this second pass adding in some arpeggios. So there's no new arpeggios on the first couple of chords, but since we're in the more advanced version now, I am going to be adding in this low D on that B flat voicing. Feel the love tonight. Okay, this E flat. I'm definitely going to start adding this high G in the voicing of it. And he does different arpeggios here, but the main one he does that's pretty tricky sounds like this. So that would be 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So you got to do all 4 notes of that voicing and then make your way up to the high B flat. So that's kind of tricky. I think it also sounds great to just do 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Or you could do 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and just anything on those eighth notes. You can do it differently every time. It is where we are. So here where we are hanging out on this F for 2 measures, he does something like that. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. So making use of all 4 of those notes with the F octaves on either side. But you can play it loose. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. It sounds like sometimes he does that, sometimes he does the full 3 and 4 on the way back in. And I like to do, hit the octaves there in the middle. You can do some harmonizing. Okay. It's enough. This wide-eyed wanderer. So the only time I hear an arpeggio in that line is on that E flat after wanderer. 3 and 4, just that upward arpeggio that we've been doing. Then for this, that we've got this far. So nothing in there, but then this is the big one here. Love that. So let's take our time here. I think this is one of the coolest and most notable arpeggios in this song. So we're going to land on this F. I am doing that full voicing. And then we got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and just coming up all the notes like we've done before. And then we're going to move our hand up, hit that F again, hit the C. So we've changed our hand position here to be able to reach higher. Then we've got G, A, C. So we've got this G that's outside the chord, adding that sort of add to color there. And the full time is going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you might want to do a little bit of octaves on this F here just to support what's happening in the right. Love that. Okay, so now we're going around a second time. And can you feel the love tonight? How it's laid to rest. So it's that one again. It's enough to make kings and vagabonds. You might want to throw it in there. Believe the very best. So he definitely does it there on that E flat over B before we just land on that B flat. Let me play through that chorus with all those details one more time, and I'll do 2 variations on that E flat arpeggio in the first line. I'll do it the easier way and then the harder way. All right, so after the chorus, we've got an interlude, which is the same as the intro that we skipped over. We will get there soon, but first, let me just finish talking through the whole song because we've got almost everything else. Next, we've got verse 2, looks like that. It's basically the same thing as the first verse. The only difference is the last line where we stay on F an extra measure and add a sus4. When the heart of this star-crossed Voyager beats in time with yours. That's leading into the next chorus. Once again on that G minor, I might be throwing in that thing where I do first inversion, root position, then we've got the A flat, and this time, instead of doing this F voicing, we're going to do an inversion one higher, C, F, and A, and then 2 hits of that, and then F sus4, so just taking that A up to a B flat, and then you can either just come back down to F like that, or you can do a stretch all the way up to the C to announce the chorus. Then we've got the second chorus. It's exactly like the first chorus. And then we have the outro. And here's the chorus to the outro. The outro is just the last 2 lines of the chorus again. But I do want to note that it pulls back a little bit. So in the last 2 lines of the chorus, we had done, it's enough to make kings and vagabonds. But at the beginning of the outro, we'll do the E flat up here, just so it gets a little bit quieter, although we're gonna get big on the G minor again with the same low bass notes we did before. So it'll be, it's enough to make kings and vagabonds, and then same thing as before, believe the very best. So do that same arpeggio there, maybe a little bit of a slowdown, and then just land on the B flat like that, and that is the end of the song. So now let's go back and talk about that intro. All right, so here's how the full intro part is going to sound, and like I mentioned, you're going to do the same thing for the interlude after the first chorus. Be going into the first verse. So here's the underlying chords. I'll start with the underlying chords without the arpeggios. This follows pretty similarly to the chorus. A big difference is going to be we are going to do the rocking octaves like we had done in the verse for the left hand. So I'm going to voice these chords really fully. You can strip them down if need be. So we've got the B flat, just like I've been voicing it for the chorus. F over A, just like in the chorus. Now this one is new. We've got this E flat over G. So I'm going to come down to the G bass notes here, and I'm doing B flat, E flat with the second finger, B flat up top. And to come down to this B flat over F, we're going to, of course, come down to the F bass notes here. Keep these B flat octaves and just do a D and an F here. So it's like a root position B flat with the high octave, if you can stretch that far. Okay, now we're going to do a very full E flat voicing like I had been doing in the chorus. G, B flat, E flat, and G here with the E flat bass notes here. And now B flat over D. So this is more like the voicing we've been doing throughout, including that high F. Okay, now here's where things get really interesting. We're going to go to single bass notes just for a second. I actually like using third finger here on the A, and then the F is just F, C, and F, so just root, fifth octave, and that's just going to be for one hit, so the first 2 counts of that measure. Step up to the B flat. So that same B flat voicing we just did. Now we're going to go back to octaves, and we're going to play them together on C minor 7 sus4. Love that. So C octaves down here, G, B flat, E flat, and F, and then B flat over D. So right back to that same B flat voicing, but with the D bass notes. So just notice in the last 3 measures here, we were on B flat over D, and then for this fast part at the end, we're just going back and forth. We got a chord, then right back to that B flat voicing, then another chord, right back to that B flat voicing, and the 5th finger stays on F the whole time. I'll play through that whole thing, just the chords. And now a few more details for the full part. So for the B flat, it actually just holds the chord in the right hand the whole measure. Then F over A. So just the 3 and 4 upward arpeggio that we've been doing throughout. Then, so you're gonna hit this E flat voicing, and then on 3, 4, you're just gonna do low B flat, high B flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So same pattern there, except for on beat 4, we're gonna do a D. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now E flat, 3 and 4. Just the first 3 notes of that voicing. So you can totally just leave that out. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think he does the F and B flat together, and then the F alone. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this part, nothing extra fancy. It's already fancy, just the chords we've got. And then we're in the first verse. That is everything you need to know, but I'm going to add one little bonus here, which is the orchestral high melody that happens over the intro and the interlude. It sounds like it's a mix of things. There's maybe a French horn, there's some strings, there's more of a synth in the interlude doing the same line, but it sounds like this. Of course, to play it live solo, you would need a third hand to add it on top of what we just learned, but it looks like that. We're going to start on a D with our second finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, F on beat 3 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So staying on that E flat for a full measure plus another count. And then key here is to play this D on beat 2 here. I'm going to use my first finger so I can cross to this B flat, and then with the third finger, and then F on the fourth count there with the first finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now G on the first count there with the second finger there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this measure is going to be F, B flat, F, and then cross second finger to D, just on every count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that allows us to put our first finger on C, and then D, F, and that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And in the playthrough, you can see that in action with the other piano part. All right, thank you for sticking with me. I am now going to do a full cover so you can see how all the parts we just learned fit together in the full song. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and click the bell so you know when I put out more videos like this one. All right, here's my version of Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
When the vagabonds believe the very best. There's a time for everyone if they only learn that the twisting kaleidoscope moves us all in turn. There's a rhyme and reason to the wild outdoors when the heart of this star-crossed voyager beats in time with yours. Can you feel the love tonight? It is where we are. It's enough for this wide-eyed wanderer. There we got this far. Can you feel the love tonight? How it's laid to rest. It's enough to make kings and vagabonds believe the very best. It's enough